Tim, good to see you, mate. On a really good run of form. How are we feeling ahead of today?
Yeah, not too bad. It's going to be an interesting one in terms of the competition. It was really tight yesterday in the SP60. Everyone really close to each other, and at the moment leading C2, Carl's right behind us, and he was on some red hot form yesterday. So as long as get some good positions in heat, see if we can make a good final. That's going to be the aim for today.
We are ready to go then. Green smiley face on the gantry, away and running for round 8 of this year's Club 100 Senior Sprints Championship.
Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome back to some Club 100 racing, this time at Ellough Park, towards the, going up towards the northeast of England in Beccles. And it's a pretty fun track. It was my first time here last year, and this year much drier, much warmer than it was then. It was quite a cold and damp experience last time. Not really rainy, but the water didn't really go anywhere. Whereas you can see today, with the benefit of the Alpha Live commentary, we've Double Dash Media commentary and Alpha Live footage, you can see that it's much drier, in fact, and it was really grippy, almost too grippy. The rubber that was down on the tarmac didn't really agree with the rubber on the Club 100 karts. It was causing the fronts to kind of skate on over it. So even though when you were walking around, it felt like you were, I suppose, like walking around on a really sticky floor. Tom at Mango Motorsport, he was describing it as a rather disgusting club floor, which, without wanting to steal his analogy, is pretty much spot on. We've got Steve Bosley there looking at the inside of Lee Henderson with, I think that's Miguel Hall behind as well, and going side by side through the sort of elongated chicane here at Ellough Park. We're not quite up with them yet. We're still behind Lenny Wood, who's been doing a reasonably good job of defending up to this point, even though it's over 10th position. We tried going up the inside and nothing doing there. Not really committed enough on the way into that corner, and it meant that no overtaking move was done. But we get a reasonably good drive off the last corner, going on to lap 3 now. All sorts of out of shape for Lenny in front, getting the back end out, and that was, again, like it was really grippy, but just the back end wanting to skate out there, losing all his momentum, and has to defend going through this next complex, which means we're able to get the nose up the outside, force Lenny to go a bit narrow into this last corner, can't carry as much speed, and it allows us to sort of set up the start of a switchback as we go across the start-finish line and up into 10th place. But it's taking us 4 laps. The start wasn't the best, but 4 laps to get into 9th really isn't good enough, especially as Kyle, our main rival that was going into this round, had an absolute stormer of a day on Saturday with the SP60, absolutely wiping the floor with everybody. And I mean, albeit, yeah, it's his home circuit, but I mean, to do that still is not easy. And at this point today, he's already off to a flyer. So that idea of damage limitation was not really the one, and it's not, as I say, started particularly well here. We're catching up with the driver in front now. We've managed to get ourselves up into 8th place, and we're looking to try and take 7th. We get a really good run. Well, I get a really good run, maybe. It's probably more down to the fact that the driver in front did not get a good run out of that sort of hairpin come chicane. And as we try to look for that switchback going onto the onto the start-finish line, straight. I can't talk this evening. The driver in front's got a bit more poke than we do, so we have to sort of tuck in, and as we go to the double right, a really fun corner through here, but it was really tricky, as I say, with that rubber that had gone down, making it not the easiest of circuits to negotiate. Ends up going a bit too narrow and not really in position to take that hairpin left roll, and we end up sticking our nose. It's more sort of out of investigation than anything, but we get given the room, which maybe we probably didn't deserve, and we're able to slot it up another position and end up P5 overall, virtue of a few penalties.
Tim Penny will start this one on pole. It's his opportunity to score big points. Scott Parker alongside him. Callan Sigafus and Paul Williams are on row 2. Alex Pritchard and Heinrich Watson-Miller are on row number 3. Row 4 is going to be Kurt Holmes and Adrian Ray. Lee Henderson and Jack Giles are on row 5. Jason Kirk.
So here we go. We've given the signal to Callum Sickert, who's behind us, to get right up our bumper and try and give us a good little nudge over the line, which we do. And as we cut to the Alpha Live footage, we can see that we get a nice start. We managed to secure first. We get a bit of a tap in the back, a little bit of loading behind, or not necessarily loading, but a little bit of nose to tail contact, and nearly forced us wide, but we managed to hold on to it. And that's me slotting up into first place off of the start. Managed to hold on to that pole position as Callum getting a really horrible start there, forced right into the tyre barrier coming out of the double right hand corner out of turn 3. But for us, we've done what we needed to do off of the start, secure first position, and at this point try and drive away. But it was going to be easier said than done with a rather quick pairing of Alex Pritchard and Kurt Holmes behind. And that's as it would kind of stay. You can see there the aforementioned Alex and Kurt behind, staying and keeping me honest, straight behind. And it was still for a little while. Both myself and Alex, and then Kurt behind, were just trying to pull away from the group behind, keep it a 3-horse, possibly 2-horse if we're able to drop Kurt, race, and as we pull away, and we would see how it would go from that point. So we're going to skip ahead a few laps onto lap number 4 or 5. Is my little preview window going to tell me? Yes, lap 4. And then as we come through this double right-hander, suddenly the kart reacts in a way that it hadn't done all race, and we end up having to make evasive action and cut the kink there. Now, at this point I was thinking, well, that I need to give this place to Alex, because if I've gained an advantage there and stayed in front having gone off the circuit, I'm going to get given a penalty which will be worse than 1 position. So if I give Alex the place, I've given up any advantage that I may have gained and then some, and I can continue battling because I feel like our pace is reasonably similar at this point in the race. Little did I know that Alex also had the same problem as I did, and I think it's because I was dropping fuel everywhere. Now, you won't really see it because the NASA panel kind of blocks my hand, but towards the second half of this race, my legs started getting very hot indeed, because they were covered in fuel, which, if none of you have ever experienced unleaded petrol dousing your thighs, it is not pleasant in the slightest. It really, really burns, and we ended up running off to grab a bottle of water out on the advice of the medical staff here at Ellough Park to drench my legs and get rid of as much of that fuel as possible, and I was left with a rather red mark as a result. But I think possibly some of that fuel had gone down on the circuit, and then that's what caused the sudden, I suppose, snap understeer is what you could call it. But we ended up P2, weren't able to get past Alex, and came in just behind him at the end. So we on to heat number 3, which was the last heat of the day. We're starting in 6th position as we make our way to the start-finish line.
And away they go. The last heat, that is a clip between the top 2 as they head towards turn number 1, which didn't bode well for a clean turn 1, but they did all get through, pointing in the right direction.
And going in towards turns 2 and 3, we're sort of stuck on the outside, so we have to kind of hold it as we go through there. He managed to do so, and that's us up into 5th position, which is not too bad considering we were on the wrong side of the grid, because the even side of the grid hadn't been getting particularly good starts today at Ellough Park, and we're up a position rather than dropping a few off the start. Have a little look up the inside, but I think that's Lawrence Cheer in front, and we weren't really in a position to take that position off his hands, so he slot back into P5 and live to fight another day. As we approach the start finish line, this is where we get to really see how the karts are doing for power around us, and seems pretty even. There's no one in this group in front of me that seems to have a rocket ship, but
problems for Amwell Burrell Smith. The kart's slowing, and he's just lost power from his Club 100 Rotax Evo car. That is extremely unusual.
Chain's gone.
Yeah, okay.
Chain's gone.
Yeah, for Anwar, that was the end of his race, and a broken chain, which is something that I haven't seen happen with a Club 100 car up to this point, puts him out of the race, which is very unfortunate for him, but being that he hasn't competed through a whole season this year, it's not a result that is going to possibly lose him a championship, per se. As Jacob Harris tries to throw it down the inside of the driver in front, and ends up carouselling off towards the right-hand side. Managed to avoid that incident, but Alex gets a better run than we do, and he's trying to go around the outside going into turn 1. I do not want that to happen, so I keep it at the inside, a little bit of rubbing, but enough room left, give him the space on the outside, and then we have to signal as we go into the yellow flag zone that is for Anwar and his stricken cart. As we can see there, he's kept the helmet on, obviously not best pleased with his result in this heat. Jumping forward for lap 3, we're trying to make the same move on Lawrence Cheer, and then this would be a pivotal moment in the race. We get on the inside, we take that position, we're pretty much side by side, but as we enter this yellow flag zone, we are ever so slightly in front, and this is what I felt at the time, ever so slightly in front, as you can see, even though it's by a few inches, and I'm signaling to say that I've recognised this yellow flag. I am going to acknowledge it and cease racing. However, as you'll see next, I think it's Lawrence on the outside, apologies if I'm getting that wrong, stays on the outside and continues momentum around the outside of this corner. I'm trying to slow down, but I felt that as I was on the inside and in front, even though it was slightly, that was my position on the racetrack. Now, I'd love to hear what you think going into that corner, whether or not I should have given it up and lived to fight another day, or whether I was right to keep it. My thinking is that being on the outside, he should have yielded, because he would have to travel faster than me to maintain position around that corner, and entering the yellow flag zone, he was behind as well. But yeah, please do tell me what you think. I'd love to hear. The long and short of it, however, is that I would get given a penalty for overtaking under yellows, and that would be a drop from second place down to 6th at the end of the race. This overtaking move was done once that yellow flag had been retracted, and it would mean that we're starting in 12th for the A final, so further down than would have been ideal, on the side that I would rather not be on. And to make things worse, we've got Carl on the front row, because he, as I said, he had an absolute stormer of a Saturday, and he's had an absolute stormer of a Sunday. So crossing the line, we've already dropped a place. Our anti-pole column did not get away well, and we're dropping down the order, down to 14th, back into 13th momentarily, before sliding back down again. We've got Adam Nather on the inside of us as we go there, and we're going to see if we can try and follow Adam Wright, who's in front of us, but we're very, very tight going through this hairpin, and that is not the way to try and get a good launch off of a hairpin corner, by staying tight to it. So the carts that have managed to hold it around the outside there, Adam Nather included, get a better launch around it, and are able to secure their positions, having got more momentum than I did. So 14th after the first lap. By the way, if you are enjoying this, please do like, subscribe, ring that bell, leave a comment, all of that sort of good stuff. But yeah, I'll say it now. At this point, I was a little bit worried as to my progression in this race, because people are very close, and even though we're able to get a couple of positions there thanks to the coming together of some carts in front, we're not able to get both, and Boz is able to hold it at the inside of the last corner, and we have to only settle for one gained place, and we're not able to follow Adam Nather through and possibly hold on to him going forward. So this would mean that I am currently 4th out of the C2 runners. The biggest problem with that is that Kyle is currently 1st of the C2 runners, and it was probably about now that he's put a move on one Mr. Joe Holmes, the new champion. Sorry, spoiler. The new champion for 2023 Heavyweights Club 100, and he's about to disappear off into the distance and win a round of Club 100. So it's not ideal for me, considering that going into this round we had a 20-something point lead, and then coming out of... Well, damn. It turns out that I forgot to turn the camera off halfway through today, and so rather than being able to show you my perspective of all of this running in the A final, we're going to have to go to the very good and very reliable Alpha live stream to see what happens. As you can see there, we've got Kyle Walker pulling away from Joe Holmes. We've got some fighting in front as Kurt Holmes tries to go at the inside of Adam Nather as they go through the sort of elongated chicane halfway through the lap. I'm just behind that and wasn't able to really take advantage.
still side by side between Lindley and Pritchard, two very experienced drivers who are going to go to war once again. Here comes Adam Nather, and it's big contact with the tyres there for Lindley, and that's going to be broken steering. That is Steve Lindley out of this race.
And yeah, unlucky for Steve there. He just maybe should have backed out, maybe wasn't left enough space, but yeah, it was unfortunate for him and that having out the race, but it gained us a position, which is the way it goes sometimes.
Well, what a drive, what a weekend this has been. Took the win in the SP60 yesterday. Hadn't been inside the top 3 so far in 2023. He's only gone and won it. Kyle Walker wins at Ellough Park, takes maximum points. Second to Anwar Burrell-Smith, but third for Joe Holmes. And Joe Holmes becomes the 2023 Club 100 Senior Sprints Heavyweights Champion.
So yeah, massive congratulations to Joe on getting his championship and his number 1 plate back, and massive congratulations to Carl, because I say he's absolutely stormed it this weekend, and that means that going out of this round, he's now claimed an 11-point lead, which means that next time out at Wilton Mill and then the final round at Buckmore Park, I'm going to have to try and pull something pretty special out to regain those points, because as of this point now, we now have a full set of scores, so it's going to be pretty challenging. In terms of what can be done, we will see, but thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, as always, have a good one.